This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Forged Irish Stout. Delighted to be joined with one half of the main event. Natasha Jonas is here, it's fight week. How are we feeling? A massive fight against Mikaela Mayer. Christmas has came and went, now it's a massive fight, time to business. How are we feeling about this one?
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah, it was what it was. Christmas was, I just didn't overindulge, but I still had Christmas, I still enjoyed myself, I still was at time with my little girl and my family, so yeah, it was a little bit different, but it's okay.
Absolutely, and just before we do touch on the fight, one thing I did want to mention, I did see an Instagram post for yourself, sort of giving back over Christmas with Ben Shalom. How was that to do something like that?
Oh, listen, it was a special moment to be with the girls from Taste and see the work that they do and the effect that they have on not just our community, which it started in, but it's gone to the wider Liverpool. It did start out just in L8, but now it's gone to the wider whole of Liverpool, and you know, to be able to have that effect on families and make sure that they have presents at Christmas. Every kid deserves a present at Christmas, and it's so unfortunate in the times that we're in now that not every kid can, and not every family feels that they can afford it, or you know, they have to put certain things in front of it. So it was great for Ben to put his hand in his pocket, which is the best thing. He doesn't do that very often, and yeah, get him involved, and yeah, it's help the people in my community. So
absolutely, and I suppose we'll touch on the fight now. And we mentioned it being Christmas, having a camp over Christmas. I think you done an interview with us about a couple weeks ago, and you was talking about sort of having camp over Christmas, people tapering off. It can be a bit difficult, not just for yourself because you're in camp, but people do want to taper off and may not be ready for sparring and things like that. Did you find them difficulties where people weren't as sort of sharp and ready when it came to sort of even stuff like sparring?
Well, we thought we were going to have trouble, but Joe sorted it all out. We had the likes of Cindy and Gamba, who's an elite amateur athlete herself. We had Paige Mearney, who's an up-and-coming pro, and we had Bree Wright, who's an established professional boxer. So they were the main. We've had other people in Dakota. So yeah, it was a great camp all in all, and everyone brought what we wanted them to bring to the table to make sure all bases are covered.
So just picking this back up after getting briefly cut short. For yourself, as we was touching on, you always want the biggest challenges, always want the hardest fights. For this fight with Mikaela, how is it at this point in your career? How is it different, would you say, to the fights with Katie Taylor or the fights with Hart? How would you think that is different?
They're not. There's still big fights. There's still fights I have to win. There's still things that I want to do. And one loss means that all the doors shut, and I've experienced that before. So you've got to keep all them doors open and then the opportunities the way they are by winning. So it's still important to win. It's still important to perform well. And yeah, it makes no difference. Fight's fight, and you've got to do what you need to do to win.
You mentioned about sort of a loss and the doors can close, and you may not think about loss that much, especially in this fight, but is that part of what can motivate you, knowing that I simply can't lose this fight because there's so many things that I still want to achieve?
Yeah, I think that for me, and not for everybody, but for me personally, I need to have that fear factor. I need to, it gives me that, like you're saying, that extra incentive of it's not gonna all go my own way. The perfect night it does, but more than likely in boxing it doesn't. So you've got it. There's going to be times when you're going to have to dig deep, and yeah, that's what brings out the best in me, is having that little bit of fear.
And do you feel like where you have had that at times in your career, you've learned from that, and that's why sort of at this point in your career you are having so much success that you are at this stage in your career?
I think there was a lot of stress and pressure of proving to the whole world that I was world level. Ever since that Namison, I've got that world title. I know it, and I've got that, and I've proved it to everyone on more than one occasion. So I think there's a comfort in myself, is that I'm not trying to play up to everyone's expectations of me. Now I'm just expressing myself and doing what I want to do, and boxing how I want, because that pressure is being lifted off my shoulders.
And when it comes to Mikaela, who's coming up in weight from super feather, I think, to welterweight, do you take a lot of confidence from that? That you've always sort of boxed at a weight that's always sort of, especially this part of your career, that's always been higher at you intend to sort of use the size, and do you take confidence from it? Yeah, well,
I think it takes time to get used to, one, not being at super featherweight, I believe I was very, very strong naturally. And then I fought the kid who was naturally a whole lot bigger than I was, and then I realised, okay, the physicality was different, and I think it took me a while to adapt to that. And like I say, I am a naturally strong person anyway, but then to just to have that, and it's always one. There's always one spoiling the party. It's always Johnny as well. Just to it takes time to adapt, and it's not just a case of eating less and eating more and training less. You've got to make your body be able to adapt and carry that extra weight round, and be able to, more importantly, perform at it.
Just another thing I did want to touch on, Mikaela, I suppose we spoke about in a couple of interviews, and she did tweet you a new start to the new year about the issues with the cup. How do you sort of respond to sort of what she's saying there?
I think my response was, just what it was. It was, I showed, I think 4 pictures of four other world champions with the same issue. It's just, I think I don't really know what she was aiming at, whether she thinks it's a gain for me. If you think it's a gain, then go and get one. If you don't, then what's the tweet for? But it's it's compulsory for females to wear a groin guard. Groin guards predominantly are designed for men, which don't have hips that women do. When I wore a smaller one, it meant that because my shorts, I feel more comfortable boxing in the bigger, baggier shorts. So when I wore a smaller groin guard, it meant that the band went up above the groin guard, which still made my shorts look high. Then I bought a bigger groin guard, thinking that, okay, this solved the problem, I'll stick the shorts to the groin guard. But then they've got flaps, which is designed for men's straight hips, and I'm a female with not straight hips. So then the groin guard rides up, and it's just one of them design flaws, because they're, like I say, predominantly made for males, and it was what it was. But I showed other females having the same issue, and it's not a thing, it's just the design flaw.
That's absolutely fine. Natasha, I just want to say thank you for taking time to speak to me. Really, really appreciate catching up with you in here. All the best for Saturday night in Liverpool against Mikaela Mayer. Appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers.
We need to think of a new advert for freebets.com.
Get your best betting offers from freebets.com.
Yeah, that'll do.
The following deals are now live.